welcome to Fieldsports Britain, coming to you this week from Barbados. Coming up, I'll be out in that, looking for a fish with a champion swimmer. We've got all your favourites, news, stump hunting, YouTube, calendar and Hallo Charlie. First, bulletproof glass. How bulletproof is it?
Don't ask how. We have acquired a few panels of bulletproof perspex used to protect counter staff in post offices. Remember post offices? Those were the days. Bulletproof glass on a Hollywood film has similar properties to 3 feet of granite. But in real life, just how much abuse would something like this be able to take before we break through? Well, for our smash hits test, we need a man with a variety of bullets, pellets, arrows and other projectiles to throw at it, and something priceless to aim at.
David really didn't want to do it, but with lots of badgering, he came up with his Queen's Greatest Hits CD. But not only is it that, it is also signed by one of my favourites, Brian May. So, as most of us will know in the shooting community, Brian is probably not popular among us. So I'm really hoping that it does fail quite quickly. Okay, so we will start off with the air rifle. So pretty sure this isn't going to do too much. Okay, so we've got just a tiny little mark where the air rifle pellet hit there. So the old deers will be pretty safe behind that for an air rifle, but we'll step it up a little bit now and move on to the bow. So I think this might make a little bit more of an impression.
As suspected, the airgun pellet does little, but what about the bow? Roy's under pressure as well. Arrows are expensive, so David's not the only one making a sacrifice today. Oh dear, we weren't expecting that.
What a result!
The arrow has
Excellent.
pierced the perspex and the CD. Ouch. Plus we have more than one vision.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm surprised at that. I think that's pretty much knackered it. And end of the experiment. That outfoxed it. The signature's still intact, David, if that's any good to you. You've got something to remember him by. Sorry, mate.
So with the damage done, we can't just leave it there. Maybe it was designed to protect against shotguns.
So, just for good measure, we thought we'd finish off and just shoot the shotgun at it, although we've proved that it's not bulletproof. It might be shotgun proof. So hopefully we won't destroy it anymore, because the plan is, whatever's left of it, we will be auctioning it off for charity for children in need. So let's give it a go and see if there's anything left after this one. Well, that was quite an interesting result on that one. We shot at the perspex from 20 yards that time, and it's hardly even marked it. You can see where the pellets have gone round, and we've got quite a good pattern on there, but done absolutely no damage to it whatsoever. So we're going to up the ante a little bit. We've moved a little bit closer, so we'll see if the CD survives any more on this one.
This is far from satisfactory, but we need to get closer. Pain is so close to pleasure.
So you can see the marks. It's not damaged the glass at all. It's literally just pitted it. I think if we hadn't had the fracture from the arrow, then it wouldn't have been compromised and it would have stayed intact. So it definitely works against the shotgun from 10 yards. As I say, that the only reason we had that result was because the plastic was already compromised. So again, the bow definitely has got a little bit more penetration, even with a shotgun at 10 yards. So just for our own interest, what we're going to do is we are going to go and shoot the little bit of bulletproof perspex that we've got left, and we're going to use the centre fire just to see exactly what happens. But this time, because I'm pretty sure of the result we're going to get, we will remove the CD, so we have got something to auction off for children in need. So we will take that out of the mix and we'll have a shot with a 243.
At 10 yards, the screen is still effective, but we can't get over the damage to the bow achieved smashing headlong into the protective screen.
I honestly thought that the arrow would shatter when it hit that. So it's quite interesting that it's worked like that. But then again, with the bow or with the arrow, that's a very heavy projectile going towards it, so it's got a lot of weight behind it, forcing through onto a very small point. So I suppose it's not that surprising that it did penetrate it. and I'm pretty sure the bullet's going to do exactly the same thing.
The 243 makes a neat hole in the plastic and the CD is saved from further damage.
That's pretty much what we thought, so it has just drilled a very small hole through it, so you certainly wouldn't want to be sitting behind it with somebody with a centerfire rifle shooting towards it.
To avoid the shouts of "don't be irresponsible," these types of panels were taken out of use at banks and post offices a number of years ago for exactly this reason. This is just for fun. You'd be stone cold crazy to try it at home. Now, would you like to win this signed Queen's Greatest Hits 2 CD? It's the real deal, signed by Brian May in 2005, and it is much loved by David, who foolishly thought the Bulletproof glass was the real deal too. Search eBay for Arrow Damaged Queen CD, and after Hammer to Fall, the highest bidder will get the CD to stick on their wall. All money raised will go to children in need.
Well, from the sound of breaking glass to something equally grating, it's David on the Fieldsports channel, News Stump.
This is Fieldsports Channel News. Prince Charles has thrown his weight behind an anti-poaching drive. He made the promise when he met Tanzanian President Jakaya Kikwete in Sri Lanka during the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. According to Kikwete, Prince Charles plans an anti-poaching conference in February next year. George Digweed, MBE, has been celebrating his most successful competitive year. He hosted a special evening to thank all the people who've helped with his career. Over 90 guests from all over the world were invited to join George and his wife Kate. Each of the 9 tables had one of his trophies as a centrepiece.
It's nice to be able to say thank you to everybody that supported me throughout my career, and you know, it's a nice way to do it, a very special place to do it. I can only be as good as the products I endorse. If they're not consistent, they're not good, they're not quality products, I wouldn't have won what I've won over a consistent period of time.
At the end of the evening, George was presented with a specially commissioned Perazzi shotgun, hand-delivered by Mr. Perazzi himself.
You know, to make it, and less than 1 month we made the gun. Usually we take 3-4 months.
Absolutely.
I did it, you know, so fast way because it was very important to have the gun ready for this evening.
The Arizona Game and Fish Department have been rounding up bighorn sheep for release in the Catalina Mountains in the state. It's a $600,000 project funded by hunters and hunting licenses to replace a herd that died out in the 1990s. Each animal has a satellite GPS collar that'll fall off after about 2 years. Biologists will closely track their movements. Government agencies and conservation groups reached an agreement to kill a mountain lion if it preys on a sheep. Children in Northern Ireland will be allowed guns, according to a government minister. David Ford, who is Northern Ireland Justice Minister, is considering lowering the age at which young people can have supervised access to shotguns and air guns to 12 years of age. Our films have now been watched over 1 million times on the Chinese version of YouTube. We started translating and uploading a few weeks ago. So far, Roy shooting feral pigeons in London is proving to be the most popular film on Youku, with one of the Chinese comments suggesting that they taste better than chicken. A Native American tribe has said that its love of eels changed the course of white history in America. According to the Micmac, a party of their number was meant to be supplying gunpowder to the French forces at Louisbourg, which was under siege in 1758. However, they stopped for eel stew, which sent them to sleep, as eating eels is known to do. And consequently, the French not only lost Louisbourg, but soon the whole of their foothold in North America. And finally, whilst filming a fishing trip on the Top Hook off New York, a cameraman caught this amazing feat.
And he's back! He's on! Oh!
Thankfully, it was a cheap rod. You are now up to date with Fieldsports Channel News. Stalking the stories, fishing for facts.
David there, still in England, and I must say, I'm hating this. Now, let's see what you lot have been up to. It's Hallo Charlie.
Here's what the world's up to this week.
Hello Charlie, it's Will Hosgood here in Cambridgeshire, Suffolk border near Newmarket. First day on the estate here picking up. Baxter ready to go, and yeah, looking forward to the rest of the day. Cheers.
Hello Charlie, this is Nick Rudisell, and Oxford, Ohio, and we had a pretty good day out pheasant hunting and got a rabbit today. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.
Hello, Charlie. My name is Lucas, and my dad has just shot the 99 squirrel.
Good man.
Hello Charlie, I'm Dean. I'm Andy. And we're just out shooting some pigeons and crows over oats. Bye Charlie.
Good day, Charlie. My name's John. Here I am at my lunch break.
Hello Charlie, this is the man being sent out shooting pheasants, or trying to anyway.
Hello, Charlie.
Send us your own Hallo Charlie. Film yourself with your mobile phone, just a sentence saying Hallo Charlie, who you are and what you're up to. Then share it or email it via YouTube, Facebook, Dropbox, or you send it, you name it, to charlie@fieldsportschannel.tv.
Now I'm going fishing underwater.
Jeff Farmer is a champion Barbados swimmer, and I'm hoping he's my ticket to a Caribbean fish, either from above the water or below it. On the first day of my trip to Barbados, he takes a group of journalists out turtle watching. We anchor up and Jeff shows he can fish for turtles with fish in his hand. A day later and conditions change. Storms on the eastern seaboard of the United States create a swell that reaches the island 2 days later.
So somewhere out there is a fish with Jeff's name on it.
Well, we're going to go and try our luck catching some wahoo first, and maybe try an hour at that, and then we'll go up to a lobster area and try and get a couple of lobsters. Maybe we'll have a hand at jigging a barracuda as well.
We start with the kingfish fishing. A really good day looks like this. As Jeff's friend and boat captain William sets up, that's what we're hoping for.
Would you like to select one of the pretty ones? Which one would you like to select?
I think we'll have a... what's the national colours of Barbados?
Blue and gold. I don't have a blue and gold.
That's the closest.
That's the closest.
Okay.
Half an hour in and we're on. It's a big fish and William needs the belt.
When I'm whining, it's not me who whining, it's the rhythm totally in control. When I'm drifting.
Within a couple of minutes though, this happens. All William has to show for it is a burnt thumb from trying to slow down the braided line. A minute later and he's in again. We have another few goes in the same spot. We see fish, but they are flying fish. Cutting our losses, we head from 250 feet to 100 feet, slow the boat down from 7 to 4 knots and start fishing for barracuda. Then this comes in from a boat that's moved to exactly where we were a few minutes ago.
Yeah, we still have just the one kingfish and 3 barracuda on board.
I can't believe that. Anyway, good.
I'll see a landing one.
Thank you very much. Over.
You said you are? You do what?
You're landing one.
Those kingfish are having a laugh, as are the barracuda. We move from trolling to jigging.
Okay, just talk me through the difference between jigging a barracuda and this lure fishing for wahoo kingfish.
I think I'd better let William explain that one. He's more a fisherman than I am.
Jigging is something that's only started in Barbados recently. I think it's originally a Japanese way of fishing. And you let down this fairly heavy weighted lure, and you try to go to the bottom, maybe 100, 200 feet, and then you pull the rod up really fast, and it looks like a fish that's wounded. It's only started in Barbados a little while, and some people have had a lot of luck. I've had a little bit of luck, but it's hard work. Your arm really hurts.
Nothing doing. Okay, last chance. Let's get championship swimmer Jeff into the water and see what he can catch with a spear.
You can recognize the habitat from the surface. You need either a reef with a ledge under it, or you need a good sized rock that has a hollow under the rock, where it's a perfect home for a lobster to keep away from the predators. I would say anywhere between 20 and 30 feet. Yeah, sometimes we can catch them in a shallower water. Hopefully we'll find that spot today.
Well, that's not what happens. This is what 5 feet looks like. This is what 15 feet looks like.
Here you're not going to find any lobster.
No.
Just on a chub like that I could have speared, but it doesn't make sense, you know.
Yeah.
Like a 3-pounder, but it doesn't make sense.
Just the wrong day, unfortunately.
I have a bit of a soft spot for reef fish, more so than that for wahoo, ocean-going fish, and barracuda. Chub are very territorial fish, and I don't really like shooting them, to be honest. But if I do come across a 5.5, 6 pounder, I might be tempted to take it. Well, in spearfishing, there are multiple tools you can use. The traditional tool in Barbados is what we call a grain. It's basically a spear with a single prong on it, like this. That's the traditional fishing grain. Then there's a lobster gun, which basically is the spear in a gun, like this. This is a lobster gun. It's small, basically, which means it's easily maneuverable in caves that you go into to find the lobsters. I prefer this tool than the spear gun. This is a pole spear or Hawaiian sling. This one can be broken down into 3 for traveling. It's a smaller size. And the tip of this one is what's called a paralyzing head. And if you shoot a fish or a lobster, they say it cannot spin on a spear, so it keeps it in one position.
Now here's the plug for the sponsoring company that flew me out there. Port Ferdinand is the only development of its kind in Barbados where you can get an apartment with its own berth for a motorboat, and it is specifically aimed at people who fish.
That gentleman had no interest at that time in fishing. He bought his home purely for a place in the sun in Barbados, somewhere to lock up and leave, go home, come back, his beautiful little spot. And after about 6 months of owning and going on a few boating trips with neighbouring friends, he bought his own little fishing boat, and the last time I had lunch with him, he is an avid fisherman, and he's out every morning catching fish off of the local banks in Barbados.
If you have between $2 million and $7 million to spend on your own fishing hideaway, then of all the luxury fishing resorts I have visited in the world, this has to be on your shortlist. If you want to buy a big game fishing property at Port Ferdinand, visit portferdinand.com. There's a lot more to Barbados than Rihanna, and with that in mind, I have to say a big thank you for our fabulous Bajan music to New Biggie Erie.
Well, yet another occasion where I've crossed continents in order to catch fish and not actually caught any fish. Still, I hope you've learned something about the tools of the trade of spearfishing. I've certainly learned a lot more about filming underwater.
Now it's time for our top Gundog training tips with the experts from Skinner's Petfoods. At the most basic level of steadiness, a dog must sit and stay. Top Gundog trainer Tom West explains his technique and why it is essential to further training.
I probably think is one of the hardest things to teach a dog. A dog is a pack animal. It wants to stay with the pack or the pack leader. It's natural for it to want to be with you and not left on its own. So when you're doing this, you've got to take it very slowly. Everybody wants to see how far away from the dog they can get, and it's not. What you're teaching the dog is to have confidence in you and to be comfortable with being left where it is. It knows it's coming back. So I always again start with the dog on the lead. If it goes to fidget, anything, you can run your hand down the lead, check the dog, give it the command, let it know what you're expecting, take your time. No rush, and you're building the dog's confidence up in you.
Tom runs West Hallo Gundogs near Perth in Scotland. Visit westhallogundogs.co.uk. This series on Gundog training tips is brought to you by Skinner's Petfoods, maker of the Field and Trial range of Gundog feeds. Visit skinnerspetfoods.co.uk.
Next up, it's the map that matters. It's David with calendar.
Welcome to this week's calendar in association with Basque, with dates for your diary, smartphone, tablet and Filofax. The UK weather is starting to get colder, though still no sign of the snow promised by some. The northern parts will be bright and still dominated by high pressure. Southern parts windy and wetter, ruled by low pressure over the continent. The full moon last Sunday is waning with third quarter this Sunday. Early reports from shoots as far apart as the Moray Firth and Kent say the moon brought the woodcock over in good numbers. Now turning to rural events, and Basque website lists the following. Friday the 22nd of November 2013 sees a safety officer's course at Meriden, West Midlands. The game menu starts at the Wildfowler Inn at Grey Abbey, Northern Ireland, and runs until the end of January. Also on Friday there's a Taste of Game dinner evening at the Butler's Pantry, Derby. There's a game gourmet evening at the Pheasant Restaurant, Hillsborough, on the same night. The Feather and Fin restaurant at the Rigby Arms in Wigan is also having a game night. On the 23rd of November from 9:30 a.m. till 4 p.m. there's a game cookery masterclass at Brockenhurst College in Hampshire. And this time next week you can look forward to a Taste of Game evening at the Globe and Rainbow at Kilndown in Kent. For more information, please go to the Basque website and click on the Events tab.
Next up, let's go to the wider world of hunting, shooting and fishing on the internet. It is Hunting YouTube.
This is Hunting YouTube, which aims to show the best hunting, shooting and fishing videos that YouTube has to offer. For a beautiful Dutch film about bird shooting, have a look at this. I told you about the trailer for it a few months ago. Now the full 8 minutes is available, and switch on the subtitles to understand what's going on. Thank you, viewer Arnold de Witte, for reminding me. Emrad gets in touch to explain his mission to make rabbit sausages. This film shows him shooting them with the Ruger 1022 and CCI 40-grain subsonics. Christmas is coming, and so are the Christmas DVDs. Wild Boar Fever 5 by Hunters Video features the remarkable Franz Albrecht Oetian Spielberg, the Ronaldo of boar hunting. Here is the trailer, kindly pointed out to me by viewer Baudouin Collinet from Belgium. Now, there are plenty of YouTube films on fishing in Barbados, and here are a couple of them. For enthusiasm, you cannot fault Richard Bagnall, whose tremendous fun game fishing in Barbados Part 3 shows a boat captain who is trying to concentrate on helping a girl called Marion haul in a wahoo or kingfish while Richard interrupts with questions about the boat. Marion, if you are going out or are otherwise attached to Richard, please leave him before he drives you insane. Another popular local sport is night lobstering, which is offered to tourists by Spearfishing Barbados. Lobsters are active during the night and so are easy to find and catch. There are lots of good Bulletproof films on YouTube, not just ours, explaining what works and what does not, and selling you useful products such as a bulletproof backpack if you feel your child is in danger of being involved in a tragic school shooting. In this one, Vice.com's Ryan Duffy is shot in the chest as he tests the strength of a vest made by Steven Seagal's tailor. On the how-to level, Mythbusters looks at what is bulletproof in this popular film, testing action film favourites such as a book, a pack of cards and a Zippo lighter. Finally, the Top Gear team has of course covered the question that bothers so many motorists: how to bulletproof your car. In DIY Bond Car Part 1 Bulletproof Range Rover, Richard Hammond parks a James Bond Range DB5 Rover on a shooting range in Wales to see how his armour modifications stand up to 50 calibre fire, and this could be super handy for the school run. You can click on any of these films to watch them if you have a YouTube film you would like us to pop into the weekly top 8, send it in via YouTube or email me the link charlie@fieldsportschannel.tv. Another film you may want to watch is the second instalment of Headhunter Chronicles, which is new to Saturday nights on Fieldsports Channel. Jason Bruce's latest adventure takes him down under. He's after a hog deer in Australia and a trophy buffalo in Papua New Guinea. His first stalk gets him within bow range of an interesting, non-typical animal. He then samples coconut crab as he heads well off the beaten track in PNG. As well as supplying the camp with meat, he also has to stop an unhappy bull in his tracks. Click on the link on the screen for more.
Well, we are back next week, and if you're watching this on YouTube, don't hesitate to hit the subscribe button that's somewhere around the outside of the screen, or go to our webpage fieldsportschannel.tv, where you can take to like us on Facebook, or follow us on Twitter, or scroll down to the bottom of the page and pop your email address into our constant contact box, and we'll constantly contact you about our programme that's at 7 p.m. UK time on Wednesdays. This has been Fieldsports Britain, and from next week, sadly, back in Britain.